There are evils in this world that do not fall when struck. They do not retreat when challenged. They do not break under courage or sacrifice. They endure, quietly and patiently, because they were never meant to be fought as enemies at all. Some things are designed to wait. Some things are built to understand the heart better than any blade ever could. Long before the War of the Ring, before the Shire was mapped or Mordor feared, something entered Middle-earth that did not truly belong to it. Not because it came from another land, but because it came from another way of thinking. A will given form, a circle of gold, plain and unadorned, small enough to pass unnoticed, yet heavy enough to bend the fate of ages. From the moment it was forged, the destruction of the One Ring was already unlikely. Not because Mount Doom was unreachable, not because enemies stood in the way, but because the ring was never meant to be destroyed by strength. The One Ring did not function like a weapon. It did not conquer cities by force or break armies through fear. Its power went deeper. It bound itself to will. In the Second Age, Sauron had already learned the limits of open domination. He had served Morgoth, the first Dark Lord, and had watched him fall beneath the combined resistance of the world. He had seen dragons slain, fortresses shattered, hosts scattered to the wind, and he understood the flaw. Force creates resistance, fear inspires rebellion, but desire invites cooperation. So Sauron did not come as a conqueror. He came in a fair form, calling himself Anatar, the Lord of Gifts, wise, measured, patient. He walked openly among the elves of Eregion, among Celebrimbor and the Gwythi Myrdain, and he spoke not of domination, but of preservation, of stopping decay, of holding back time itself. The elves listened because they were afraid. They remembered Valinor. They remembered the light of the two trees. They felt the slow fading of the world pressing in on even their immortal lives. Anatar did not invent their fear. He simply offered a solution. Together, they forged the rings of power. 3 rings for the elves, wrought to heal and preserve, untouched by Sauron's hand. 7 rings for the dwarves, amplifying endurance, craft, and desire for wealth. 9 rings for men, whose fear of death burned brighter than any other longing. And when all others were finished, Sauron returned alone to Mordor. In the fires of Orodruin, he forged the One Ring. Here lies the first, absolute reason why no one could ever destroy it. Sauron did not merely enchant the ring, he poured into it his own being, his strength, his malice, his patience, his will to dominate all life. This was not symbolism, it was literal. So long as the ring endured, Sauron could never truly fall. His body could be destroyed, his armies scattered, but his essence would remain, anchored to the world through the ring. The ring was not just a tool of power, it was a fragment of its maker. When Sauron first put it on, the elves perceived him at once. They felt his thought, his intent to rule them all. In fear and sudden clarity, they removed their rings and hid them. And war came. Eregion was destroyed. Celebrimbor was captured, tortured, and slain, his body displayed as a banner before Sauron's armies. Yet even then, the ring was not destroyed, because no one who held it ever wanted to destroy it. At the end of the Second Age, the last alliance of elves and men marched against Mordor. Gil-galad, High King of the Noldor, stood beside Elendil, Lord of Arnor and Gondor. For 7 long years they laid siege to Barad-dûr. At last, Sauron himself came forth. He was terrible, overwhelming, clad in power. Gil-galad and Elendil fell, but together they broke his body. And Isildur, son of Elendil, cut the ring from Sauron's hand. For a moment, evil fell silent. Silence. On the slopes of Mount Doom, Isildur stood holding the ring. Elrond and Círdan stood beside him, knowing exactly what he carried. "Cast it into the fire," Elrond said. "Destroy it." Here the truth reveals itself. The ring did not command Isildur. It did not threaten him. It did not shout.
It made sense. Isildur had lost his father. He had lost his brother. His kingdom lay in ruin. The ring did not lie to him. It allowed him to believe that keeping it was justified. He named it Weregild, payment for blood, payment for suffering. In that moment, Isildur did not believe he was choosing evil. He believed he was choosing justice. That is how the ring works. It does not override will. It reshapes it. To destroy the ring requires willingly surrendering absolute power at the exact moment when that power feels most deserved. No one ever can. Isildur failed not because he was weak, but because he was human. Soon after, the ring betrayed him. At the Gladden Fields, as orcs closed in, it slipped from his finger. Invisible no longer, Isildur was struck down.
The ring sank into the Anduin and waited. Centuries passed. Arnor fell. Gondor diminished. The world forgot. Until Deagol found the ring while fishing, and Smeagol murdered him for it. The ring did not force that act. It revealed what was already there. Smeagol fled beneath the misty mountains and became Gollum, not because he was uniquely vile, but because possession became identity. "My precious," he whispered. To destroy the ring would have been to destroy himself. The thought never formed. When Bilbo Baggins found the ring, something unprecedented occurred. Mercy. Bilbo spared Gollum. A small act, a quiet one. The ring passed to someone who did not seek domination, but comfort. Bilbo used it to hide, to avoid conflict, to delay change. Even that was enough. When Gandalf later confronted Bilbo, the ring showed its hold. Bilbo's face hardened, his voice sharpened. Good intentions offered no protection. That is why the wise refused it. Galadriel saw herself ruling through it, beautiful and terrible as the dawn. She turned away. Elrond remembered Isildur. Gandalf feared becoming a tyrant of righteousness. Saruman did not refuse, and was destroyed by his desire to possess. Frodo Baggins carried the ring because he wanted nothing from it. He sought no greatness, only peace. And even that was not enough. As Frodo drew closer to Mordor, the ring grew stronger, not weaker. Here, the philosophy of power in Tolkien's world becomes clear. Power is never neutral. Power always seeks to impose will. The ring tempts not with cruelty, but with order, with solutions, with the promise that suffering can be ended if only one mind is allowed to rule. That is why the strongest and wisest fall first, not because they crave domination, but because they believe they would use it responsibly. Galadriel fears not becoming evil, but becoming eternal. Gandalf fears not darkness, but a goodness that would never release its grip. The ring cannot be destroyed by will because will is its domain, and this becomes absolute at Mount Doom. The fire of Orodruin is not merely hot enough to melt the ring. It is the place where the ring is most itself, where its maker's will is whole. Everywhere else, the ring can be resisted. At the Samath Naur, it is complete. There, the ring is not an object, it is a presence. To stand at the cracks of doom is to feel every loss sharpened, every sacrifice given meaning, every pain demanding justification. This is why Frodo fails. "I will not do this deed," he says. "The ring is mine." That moment is not weakness, it is inevitability. If the fate of Middle-earth had depended on Frodo's will alone, it would have fallen. The ring is destroyed not by choice, but by the removal of choice. And that is something Sauron never understood. In Middle-earth, chance is never merely chance. There is providence. What Tolkien called eucatastrophe, the sudden turn toward good that no plan can predict and no power can control. Bilbo spared Gollum. Frodo spared him again. Mercy echoed across decades. The ring trusted corruption. It trusted obsession. It trusted hunger. And so it trusted Gollum. When Gollum fell, the ring fell with him. Fire closed. No triumph followed, only quiet. The One Ring could never be destroyed by strength, because it was built on the certainty
that someone would always believe they could master it, and no one ever could. If you wish to explore even deeper into the ancient history of Arda, go watch our next video about Sauron and what he really wanted. Thank you for watching, and if you want more tales from Middle-earth, join us and subscribe so you don't miss the next story.